Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to a new episode of Let's Crack It. So today we are going to interview, actually, my new friend Phil, which is SEO, social media, and marketing expert. We're going to actually tackle some important and strategic points, I think, about SEO. And those points are mainly about keyword optimization techniques, so on page and off page SEO. And eventually, we could cover strategies for how to write compelling content and search engine ranking. So, Phil, it's your mic.
Yeah, so hey everybody. Glad that you guys tuned in to Let's Crack It episode. I think it's episode 4, right? Yeah, it's episode 4. We already did 4 episodes. Crazy.
Exactly.
We're moving fast. So, as Carlo already introduced me, I am a fan of organic marketing. I don't know if this is an official term. They call it organic growth, but I really like this marketing way of marketing because for me it's the only truth. If you imagine you're a company and you just spend a lot of money on ads, for example, you have or you will be coming into the battle with ad blockers, and it's coming in hard these days because I have ad blockers everywhere on YouTube. I don't want to watch ads. I just skip them, don't even watch them. If I scroll in social media, I can tell it's an ad from a mile away, because oftentimes it's that way that advertisements always give you this salesy kind of vibe. And for my person, and I believe I speak in the name of many people out there, it's just annoying. And what do we do, for example, or best example is when you watch TV, you watch a movie, you have like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times an interruption where they just show you ads that are not relevant to you. And I go take a pee or make coffee, cook some popcorn, whatever, I don't really watch these ads. And the same behavior is pretty much happening also in the digital marketing space, because I can see it how I behave, and I am not some exceptional person. And I believe you do it, Carlo. You
Absolutely,
are nodding.
yes.
Yes, there is the word.
I
He agrees with me. And yeah, so if you or let's just roll it out that way. If you're a company and you are selling products or services, doesn't matter. You always have something to sell. How should you go about to get your clients? And that is basically with trust. You need to build up trust. I once read this piece of content. I think it was on Twitter. No, it was on Instagram. There was this guy. He posted a carousel. "Marry Me" was the title. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to check this out. I think I know what it is about. And what he actually explained was that if you, let's say you're on Tinder, like I think you're not. We are both married. We're not on Tinder. Don't look us up. Don't look us up. Check our social media, but we are not on Tinder. Yeah. So what is happening? You meet with that girl, or a girl meets with that boy, or boy with boy. It's 2023. Anything can happen. And you see this person for the first time. You're at the dinner, and you just tell him, her, him, marry me. What is probably the outcome that's going to happen there? So the success rate will be incredibly low because you do not know that person, right? You don't know that person. The same behavior is actually applicable to your products and services. So if you just shoot out some ads and the people see it, the success rate is probably very small that somebody actually clicks on that ad, goes through your landing page, if you have a landing page in best case scenario, and purchases or converts, which would be the marriage. But a better way is to first hang out with that person in our Tinder example, get to know each other. And that's where actually organic marketing comes in. It's very important that you can build up the trust with your clients. So you actually post a lot of stuff about what it is, what is the benefit of your services or products itself. Every product should serve a purpose out there. Like we discussed in a previous episode, the problems that you have to solve with your products
Exactly.
or services, yeah, and speak out the pain point. So if you guys cannot relate to that, I always bring up this example when you are going on anybody's social media profile. It should be clear why you should follow that person. Like any channel serves a purpose for your problems or a solution to your problems, better said. And that should be also transformed into your whole marketing strategy. So while I am just posting content about what my product does or content around that product, let's say you sell yoga mats, for example, it's very, very, very tight, or not tight. It's a very broad market out there because every other person is selling yoga gear or yoga, I don't know what, blocks, handstand tools, whatever. It's important that you can kind of deliver to this person a lot of information. And while you do that, you can write, for example, in the yoga example, about best 5 yoga poses to reach in 2023 or something. That's actually a good headline. I should write about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so when I'm just scrolling the internet, for example, I have no intention to purchase any product, for example. That's called the search intent. The search intent right now is information. I look for anything around the entity of yoga. And I find your article and I read it through and I feel like, hey, okay, this company, this person actually gives me a lot of good tips. He solves a lot of problems that I have in my yoga career. I start to trust this person. That happens when you scroll through TikTok, Instagram Reels. I feel like this is a good example to show in a microcosmos what is happening also with SEO later. I will get there. Yeah. But I see Carlo is showing me, hey, look, do these stretches in the morning to mobilize your hips or get rid of back pain, because it's a common thing out there. People sit all the time, they have back pains, they have stiff hips, whatever. And I feel like, hey, okay, Carlo is showing me a lot of cool stuff. I follow that guy. Now I have a purpose to follow you because what you're doing is you're solving my problems.
Yes.
And at some point, then maybe you say like, hey, look, today I have this yoga mat. It's in my shop. Just check it out. I show you what's the benefit of it. And I will most certainly then also go and buy this product. But,
this brings me back to like, I would say, more or less a year ago when I started to have a lot of back pain. And, my strategy was not really the best strategy to find a way to solve this problem, because actually I went to the chiropractor and I went to different doctors. Obviously, this is the first thing that you can do. But after the first 8 to 16 sessions that you do, you have to do this every day by yourself, right? And the problem was that obviously if this doesn't become an habit, after you will lose the routine of doing this, because you do it with the doctor. But when you don't know, when you have a scheduled plan, you go and you do it. But if you don't, sometimes you jump. And the fact is that, for example, I started to search on YouTube people that suggested some exercises exactly for my back pain. And I started to follow this guy, which was really, really good at explaining not only the exercise itself, but the why is important to do that exercise for this specific part of the back, right? The upper back, because my pain was mainly on the upper back. And after all, basically going through all his free content on YouTube, I said, okay, maybe, I don't know, I contact him. But actually, I realized that under their YouTube videos, there was always this, I would say, link to their online courses to solve back pains with much deeper understanding of why and what to do, how to take the routine of doing this exercise, right? And so basically, I realized, well, he is doing a lot of free content for everybody, but at the end of the day, I'm going to trust you because you are explaining how to solve my problem, right? And then I purchase from you your content because, you know,
You
I
trust.
really trust you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's actually a good example that you just brought up. There is in Germany, there is a guy, maybe I can share the screen quickly and show
Mm-hmm.
you. Whoops, there you go, screen. 1, 2, 3. That's a slow one. My fingers are slow today. So, but basically, what you just said is like what this guy did or does. I guess you can see the screen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
I found
We
him
wanted
on.
to explain also for people that is just listening.
Yeah, I think exactly. Yeah. This is a guy. It's called Liebscher und Bracht. They do pain. They call themselves the pain specialists. And what I'm showing right now is their website because I want to show when you are now landing on this website, you see a lot of stuff that you can purchase from them. It was not always the case. They have, and that's how they found them. How I found them, I just looked for solving my back pain issues, like some stretches and whatever. And he has a lot of videos on Instagram. I think I even found him on TikTok originally. No, wait, that was still Instagram back then. He just showed like do these 5 stretches per day to kind of like make your posture better. And I always saved them and I checked them, I did them at home, and he gave away all his knowledge for free. And that's what a lot of people are, or the knowledge that you have, because they feel like, yeah, what am I going to sell then later?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that everything you give away for free actually shows the people out there that what you know, and it makes it so much more easy to build up on trust to then just throw after like an offer that you have, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just showing quickly. He has a lot of maybe I'm here now on his purchasing thing. Where does he have it? Yeah, he has a couple of books. He even built an app with all these exercises. Yeah, he has a lot of books here where he writes like how to solve your head pains or your neck pains. It's basically common issues out there.
Exactly.
And he used to have a blog. Yeah, he changed the website a little bit. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna quickly cancel this. Yeah, so anyway, what I wanted to say is like he was out there and he just shared his knowledge. Whatever he knew that he actually would be asking for money, you just could get it for free. And eventually he said like, hey, look, you made all these exercises. To make it easier, I have this kind of item that you can put under your back to make your stretches deeper, for example. Or he had some massage ball that a bit like, or like a triangle that you could like punctually like massage your neck muscles. And honestly, I mean, I didn't use it, I didn't need it, but honestly, I was a couple of times enticed to just buy it because I knew, hey, okay, whatever he just showed me before works. So when I purchased that, I can trust him that this will work as well. And that's very important to realize that people don't just feed off of you with all your free content. Yes, there are people that do that, but the majority will not. Because whatever you know, whatever you know, you can share for free, and people just get to know what is all in your head or what is all in your company.
Mm-hmm.
And that builds me up to that trust factor again that we had before. So I actually followed that guy a couple of times. Well, I didn't purchase, but again, I actually had it in the basket, and then I was like, yeah, okay, I don't have money anyway right now. But I regularly visit his videos, and I still have them saved in my collections on Instagram, that in case something happens, I know like I have my library of stuff, which is also helping you on your social media presence. to get saves, to get more reach, to get a larger account, and just build up your audience eventually. And if you are selling these yoga mats, for example, and you show a lot of exercises that you can be doing in yoga, top 5, building up into getting, I don't know, the side split, the front split, the pigeon, whatever there is, dancing queen or queen of the dances, I think is also one, I don't know. But all these yogis out there are now laughing. I don't know. On Friday, I actually signed up for a goat yoga. I'm going to be very looking forward. My wife pulled me in there, and I'm always open for stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, so organic marketing builds up on that. May it be on social media or the SEO. SEO scares off a lot of people, but eventually it's no more than just you out there showing what you know and engage with people. What do I mean with that? First of all, content is king. Yes, everybody heard that. You have to write a lot of stuff around the topic. In our case, it's yoga. You can extend it into many, many different things that you can be writing about. Yeah, yoga poses, yoga tools, yoga fashion, yoga retreats, which kind of yogas there are. I mean, there's just very, very roughly an idea of what you can be writing about. And the important is that you just write. But you shouldn't just write into the blue of like, hey, okay, people could be interested in that. No, that's where actually keyword research comes in. What I mean with that is fire yourself up, go into, for example, answerthepublic.com. That's a good source. Everything that Neil Patel actually shares is very, very useful at an affordable price. You don't have to get into SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever and pay 100, 150 euros per month for it or dollars.
Yeah,
It's quite expensive. Exactly. You can do a lot of that already for free. And the absolute cheapest and easiest way to do so is if you go to your Google search and you write your keyword that you are working around, and then it already suggests you what most people are looking for. So you get already an idea. It's not done with that yet, of course, because you need to see some technicals like how difficult is this keyword. And when I talk about keyword difficulty, I don't want to get too technical in this episode. I just we can get into the specifics later then. But the easiest approach, and I have seen very good success with, is, for example, I have this client who is selling label printers for industrial purposes. For example, they print out barcodes on a sticker, they put it on their cartons that they ship all over the world, and then it gets into the whole I lost the word, supply chain. Yeah, never mind, another technical term. But I had no idea about this, and I actually took over their SEO. So first thing what I did is I checked who is all writing and what do they write about that topic of label printing. And there are things like, what's the difference between thermotransfer and the other printing, like direct printing, and so on and so forth. You have different barcodes. What is the difference between barcode and QR code, and so on. So what I did is I did a quick checkup on Answer the Public. I wrote one of these keywords, and Answer the Public shows me questions that are being asked online. Like, again, what is the difference? Or should I take barcode over QR code? Or what is the best label material, for example? Or what do I have to do if I want to have a label that is in sub-zero, I'm talking centigrades, sub-zero environment, for example, in the medical aspect, you have these small glasses that you have to freeze, for example, then the label has to withstand a certain minus temperature, that they don't get broken, and so on. And these are all information that you can be writing about. So what I did is I took, for example, what is the difference between the label printers? Put that in, I Googled it, and there are actually people that are competing on this keyword, which is right now a long tail keyword, because I don't just write label printer, I actually have multiple words together. And I will explain later also quickly what it is. But easiest for me is I check the top 3 ranking articles on that keyword or that question that I just wrote into Google. I take the amount of words that they wrote about of all of
Okay.
those three. I put it in a tool.
You
It's
mean
called
like
Vern.
1,000 words or 1,500
Exactly.
words, something like that?
Some
Okay.
write just 800, the lazy ones. But I take them, I throw it in a tool. It's called wordcounter.com or IO or whatever. I can drop
Yeah.
all
All the
the things
links
in
in
one.
the
It's not the
description.
link. You have to export the whole. You have to copy paste the text,
Ah,
and then I
okay.
see all together. It's maybe 4,000, or let's make it 3,000 for the simplicity of calculating it here. Then I divide it by 3. Then I have an average, and on top of that, I add 10 to 15% of the word count.
Okay.
So I know to compete in the top 3, I have to have, for example, what is it? 3,000 by 3 is 1,000 plus 15% is 1,150 words.
Okay.
This is like the volume of an article that I should be writing to actually show Google, hey, I have a fresher, better, longer piece of content
Wow. That's
for you
amazing to know.
guys. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
that hard actually. And actually learned that about a year ago. And I was like, this is the key. And it works. Yeah. So I do
Amazing.
that. I know it's like 1,150 words, for example. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just take the structures of what they write about. And I know, like, for example, they have certain questions that they're answering, or they
Mm-hmm.
give tips, bullet points, for example. They write 5 bullet points. So I make it 10, even better, right? I mean, let's go to yoga, top 5 yoga poses to learn in 2023. I make it top 10 top yoga poses in 2023, for
Okay.
example. So I actually give Google this sign of
Even
hey, I
more.
am more relevant. Yes, longer, larger, bigger, better. And it's not so difficult. Then you can go into the techniques of like finding high volume keywords and all that stuff. But I think if you're an SEO beginner, that's a very, very good start to go with. And you will see it already like shows you a lot of good results. I have
Mm-hmm.
a client that I'm teaching more or less because that's what I do. I always want that they know what it is that I'm doing. So I do this trust building on a real time basis. I do share whatever I do, and I would like you to be able to do it yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yes, the client could be like, okay, now I don't need you anymore, but they build up the trust that much that they are like, hey, okay, I
So
know
that
what you're doing. I trust you. It's fine for me because I still save them time, and time is
absolutely,
valuable.
absolutely.
That gets
Because you
into another
have
diff.
the back and you experience because they still have to learn anyway, right?
Exactly. And
So it's important to share because you have the skills and the experience, actually.
exactly. And once you can utilize basically another employee, you can say like, hey, look, I write these 5 articles. Do you feel like you want to be writing something? And most people are creative. They're like, hey, I'm also going to try that, because there is nothing cooler out there than your own piece of content on the website. When I first time published my post, I was like, I'm an author. This is amazing, It was a shitty, crappy article, but I like to give people this feeling of joy, and I just love to collaborate because it also triggers synapses in my brain then because they are coming from this field, they're the specialists. And when I see like, hey, okay, can we not write about that? I'm like, I didn't really think about it. Yeah, let's go in that direction, or like, let's cut it down, or like, let's do a different kind of approach towards it. And that's what you can do. So first and foremost, know your audience, share all what you know with your audience. Don't be afraid that you will not be making sales. There's only a small percentage that there are freeloaders out there, and even
Mhm.
they will convert into purchasers and customers eventually. They will. It's inevitable if you do your homework right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
then also when you know your audience, you share all your stuff, always know who is your competitor. Always keep an eye on your competitor and check what they do.
Mhm.
Do not reinvent the wheel, and whatever
Exactly.
doesn't work with them, you can do better because it's the easiest. Everybody likes to rant around like, yeah, okay, they just fucked up this, they just fucked up that.
Yeah.
Then do it better, don't just say like, hey, this is crap.
I
And
use
yeah,
utilize the same approach when I have to design, right? So if I have to design a product, I'm sure 100% that someone in the market already solved my same problem. maybe in
Yeah.
another space, maybe in another industry, maybe in another, I don't know. But I'm sure they already solved this problem. And if it worked for them, it means that it will work for me too. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Always also, again, if I took back the, thinking about reusing the same patterns, right? In design, it's a common word that you use. People should be really happy when they see patterns, and because they are comfortable with them. And yeah, that's
Exactly.
on the
Yeah.
design on the design side. I would say it's a pretty good and successful strategy.
Yeah, that's a very nice cue that you just opened there. I mean, that's why we are on this podcast, because we see very tight similarities of how you work and how I work. You just put a little bit more color into it and like make it look more fancy than I do, but actually the strategical approach is the same. It's identical, because you should not you should not forget that SEO or organic marketing in general is the most human thing that you can be doing. There's just a technical term that scares off a lot of people, which is search engine optimization. Everybody's like, whoa, what the hell? But basically, what SEO or the approach that I also do on social media, especially on social media, is imagine you're going into a bar. I know I told you that already, Carlo, but it's a good comparison. You go to a bar, you see all these tables, people are gathered around, and they talk about a topic. And what you want to do is like you want to go and add your 2 cents to that conversation. So which means you don't want to be just sitting there and nodding. That's, for example, on social media, that's a comment of fire or great post
Yeah,
or whatever, just these short
useless.
things. Exactly, useless.
Mhm.
And you want to be there and add to the conversation and show them that you also know what you're talking about. And by that, people recognize you because everybody who's sitting on the table or at the bar or drinking the beer there will actually realize, hey, okay, Carlo is here. He knows stuff about product design, for example. Or you're going to a yoga class and then you talk about yoga and stuff, and people know, like, okay, he or she has experience. She already did some yoga retreat and stuff. And whatever she says is not stupid, because I now know, because I shared my knowledge, she or he knows what they are talking about. And that's the same thing again. It's also in the digital space. It's exactly the same pattern. And while you do that, people recognize you. They keep your name in their head. That's basically a backlink, what you generate.
Nice.
Because at some point, these people are like talking similar stuff that you said, but they may refer to, hey, look, I got this idea from Carlo. And then they're like, who is Carlo? And then they will maybe follow up you, like, Carlo.
Nice.
Okay, he's the guy there in the corner, So
Yeah.
that's the backlink. You get this authority that actually people, or I call it the cool kids on the block, they will remember you. And automatically you are
Yeah.
becoming cooler too,
Okay.
because you are being recognized by high authority people or websites in that matter.
Wow.
When you have a website that has like a high authority, let's say Wikipedia, that's like the king of all backlinks basically, because it has like an authority of 99, I think. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the GOAT. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Wikipedia links to your website, this is like a very strong signal of, boom, if that guy or that girl is, or that company, so to say, well, you have some requirements that you have to fulfill to be on Wikipedia. But if you can generate a link towards your website, that's the ultimate sign for Google, like, hey, okay, this is good stuff there, and which increases your ranking as well, as long as you also create good content. I mean, it's not just done with links and you have empty website. It's not going to happen. But
So
that's then
with this,
another topic.
we are talking, in fact, about off-page SEO, right?
Right. Sorry, I should have maybe said that. Yeah, that's all off page. Yeah, you do that basically all of your website, or in the example of the bar, it's off of your person. Basically, it's
Nice.
something you can generate, but you cannot control. And so I always start off with telling people, like, they're like, SEO is complicated. It's like, it's actually not so complicated. You can make it indefinitely complicated, because I also work with SEOs together that send me like Excel sheets, and I'm like, bruh, I have no idea. Like, you have a million of keywords in here. What am I going to do with that? Like, yes, it's important to look like what keywords are good, what keywords are high volume, which keywords are difficult to rank for, and which are not, for example. But just if you want to start off, just keep in mind, you want to be sharing your knowledge. You want to make people trust you with whatever you know, and just keep on there, and keep an eye on competitors, because it makes your life way more easier
Yeah.
than just like writing into the blue and hoping for the good
Yeah.
hit. But yeah, I think
Amazing
that's
content, actually. Super
it's not that
juicy.
complicated. Yeah. it makes you want to go out there right now and like, hey, I
Yeah,
can do that too.
exactly. I
And
wanna I wanna start to do something, right? And
that's
that's
exactly
amazing
what you
because
should be doing. Yeah. Just
yeah,
like, don't be scared. Everybody starts. Like, my first few content pieces, let's take my Instagram journey. And Instagram, gosh, when I look over my first post, I get an eye cancer. It's disgusting. It's non-valuable. And what I basically did is like, you always say like, get inspiration by other creators. Yes, do that. But back then I somehow was not flexible enough to recreate it that much, so it was pretty close to a copy. But yeah, archive those. Also didn't have much reach because it just started out. But there's a lot of stuff out there that you can just like check and just see what is actually working. Do not reinvent the
mhm,
wheel.
yeah,
It's so much easier. And then put your personal note into it. If you say like, back to yoga, like, hey, I don't take 5 poses that are imported in 2023. I take 10. And I even take those simple ones, not just like 5 super hard ones that are cool to show off and make nice vacation pictures, but also like exercises that you get a benefit. For example, hey, okay, forget Queen of the Dancers, for example, just looks nice. Everybody's on Instagram in this post, but maybe don't take a picture of this post, but it's actually going to strengthen your core. And there you already have like a market position, because you are not just like aesthetically showing how people can be doing these poses and how cool it looks like, but you're actually giving them the benefit of like, oh, while you actually learned that, one of the top 10 poses, and your back pain is gone, for example, or your core is stronger. And yeah, I mean, it's all out there. Put a little creativity in it, and
yeah.
yeah.
Amazing content. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
you're
Phil.
welcome.
I think it's I mean, I don't know. It's always on my side refreshing to understand this stuff because while again I understand in page SEO, which is again quite simple. Again, if we want to compare with all these tools that we have currently nowadays to simplify this on-page SEO, but actually, what really helps at the end of the day is also, I would say, showing up yourself and share your knowledge about something, right? And this is where basically the real value comes in because, again, I know a lot of people that maybe buy this backlinks from high ranked websites, and I don't know if it's really something that is helping at the end of the day. I mean, you have to be really strategic also to understand where to put your links because I guess, I mean, if I'm a product designer and buy links, I don't know, on a blog page where they talk only about yoga mat, right? Makes no sense actually to have my link on that space, right? It's not just because they are 90 in the ranking that I have to put my link there, right?
Right, of course, that also matters. And now that you mentioned on-site SEO, yeah, that's kind of like tuning your garden to perfection eventually. But I mean, if you don't know what you should be ranking for or what's your main keyword, or worse, even if you don't know what is your niche, you won't get keywords And yes, all these tools, if you just drop in some keywords, yes, they all tell you like, hey, it's in the green light. You have a keyword here, you have a main focus keyword there. But is it really congruent with your business plan? And that's where actually your story about the link that actually leads to which article comes into play. When you create backlinks, you should also make sure that like pages of your website that are important to your business get these backlinks. So let's say you're a product designer and I could generate I could only imagine I would have maybe an application for yoga, and you would point to that from your portfolio, maybe that you have been designing for it. That makes sense. But worst case, I always say like, just if not nothing, then if you have no specific page for it, just put it to the main page, to your homepage. It's kind of the dumpster for me. It's like, okay, I have a link, I want to have it, and lead it to me, because people would land on your website for several reasons, and you always have to keep in mind you're dealing with people. Yes, there are crawlers, but crawlers and bots and search engines, they are all an imitation of a human being. So as long as you're doing it to be understandable for you and me, the imitation will understand it as well. And that's actually where you should be making the transition. And that's why I call it organic marketing, because it's human being centered. And that's why the comparison with the bar actually fits so well, because again, some SEOs make it incredibly difficult, and they just put in a lot of specs and techniques, and they have their space, they have their place in the strategy. But eventually, if you pimp it all out technically and everything is great, but a human being is landing on your website and doesn't understand what it is about, then you still have a high bounce rate. Ergo, you are not going to be ranked higher, because whatever the person finds when they click on the link is not resonating with what you were advertising, basically. By advertising, I don't mean an ad. I mean just like in the search engine results, for example, or on your article where you link to me, for example. It has to be natural, understandable, and that's where also the user experience comes in, that we talked last time about it. And it all kind of goes hand in hand.
Nice. I think we went already to almost 40 minutes. So I guess we can wrap up here. So thank you very much, Phil, for all this information. I guess we can eventually put some links about what you talked about, like this SEO things, where you can start to search for keywords, or I don't know, even free tools, right? Because it can be really helpful for people to have these links.
Also, I put together some modules that are actually free to download on Gumroad. And I would also put that in the description. So actually everything that I just explained to you, as humanly possible, understandable, is actually written in a nice Notion page, and a step-by-step guide how to actually write a content that actually is or has a good chance to rank. I'm never saying it's going to rank. Everything ranks at some point and then some position, but
you never know when, actually.
Exactly. So I put that in the description. So everybody who's interested, please feel free to just go check it out. It might be at some point it's going to be costing some money, but for now I just give it off for free, for the reasons I just explained in the beginning.
Exactly.
I want you guys to trust me. And so thank you very much for this chance to explain a little bit my opinion on SEO. And
thank you.
Make sure you follow us and give us some likes, and tell everybody about how to crack it, and
to
listen to our podcast.
Yes, cool. So I would say let's wrap it here, and see you guys in the next episode.